So you don't now, get into a situation that reminds you of a situation a long time ago and realize how different it is experiencing the situation now compared to...
No,
You
I
don't-
don't do
you
that
don't.
now. No, I can't do it.
You can't do.
I can't. No. I can't reflect on myself, on who I am or who I was. No.
Can you remember when Barbara said once, "Oh, it's so hard being a person," and then you had that remembering just for a flash or a glimpse of what it was like to be like we are all now.
Yeah, and it was just a tiny flash.
Yeah.
I suddenly felt all this compassion.
Yeah.
That different compassion.
Yeah.
And in the first year, something happened once. It was just this small incident, and suddenly I was in a shop and I broke something, and it just triggered something in me. Maybe a feeling of clumsiness or some deep thing. And I suddenly, for a couple of minutes, felt really, really upset and self-conscious. And it was just like hell. It really was. And I realised that's how I used to be. And it was like, how did I do that? How did I keep everything together? It was so awful. It's true. And it was just a little thing, and it was how I was off and on a bit. I mean, I'd never had a really traumatic life. It had been I had good parents, a good upbringing, the usual trauma, being a teenager and everything. But it was still, when I look back on how it was just like hell. And you don't realise, and if someone had told me I was suffering, I would have said, no, my life's fine, it's okay. It wasn't until I met Peter, I wasn't even looking. My partner met Peter and introduced me to him, and I was very reluctant to go. And it wasn't until after I'd met him a few times, it wasn't the first time, and suddenly I just went, oh my God, that's what it is. And then I just couldn't put it down. It drove me crazy sometimes, and I wished I could go back to how I was sometimes, because it was so hard. But I knew I wouldn't, and I didn't really want to. But now it's so much, I've got no idea how I felt, and I've really, in a way, got no idea how you feel. I can't emotionally feel that suffering anymore. And I know you don't suffer all the time, but I didn't realise how much I suffered until I was out of it. And then it became obvious, and that's why people teach and want to do this, because it's just so amazing, and you don't want people to suffer.